We are going to talk about expositive text. Expositive text is a textuality kit of textuality modality or that present facts of object ideas or concepts. Its purpose is to inform subjects of general interest to new specialty, public and sometimes with a preview kernel. Tips are expositive text is special y divulgative.
The divulgative type is the one that informs a topic of information. Eh, this is not required knowledge of the subject of the exhibition. And examples are journalistic text, notes, textbooks, encyclopedias, and others. And the specialized is the one that informs with a high degree of difficulty. They require an extensive knowledge, and examples are doctoral reports, magistral laws, articles of science, etc. Structure of expository text. The introduction is when you explain what is going to talk about the text, and the development is when is the more important part of the text contain a clear exposition of the type of you are going to talk. There are ideas and logically order, and the conclusion is when you propose a summarize the fundamental aspects of the exposed subject with a brief synthesis and recapitulation.
Some linguistic characteristics of expositive text: clarity and precision, preferential use of the present, timeless and indicative, punctually the use of the imperfect if it is the description of process, use of connectors, use of resources to act as comparisons, definitions, enumerations, and examples. The expositive texts are known as informative in the school environment. The primary function is to transmit to information. Logical structures. Inductive, when exposed in particular data or ideas to arrive at the end or determination of the fundamental theme. Analyzing or deductive. First formulates the topic and then develops it with particular data or ideas.
Parallel. In text, will this type of structure ideas are exposed without the need to coordinate with each other all have the same level of importance. From it, it presents a division in the theme that is developed through the text, and finally a conclusion that reinforces or modifies the initial idea.
Okay, the suggestions to understand the expository text. The first is read the text globally, then read each paragraph but titles, review the titles, detect the internal organization of the text, locate the components of the organization, boil a sham,
Oigan, ya la regué. ¿Qué
Sofía.
Void a screen, void meaning summarize, and ask question about the text, underline the most important date, the text, and main secondary date of each paragraph.
Organization of the information. Deductive, it starts from the general to research the particular the most specific. Inductive, contrary to the deductive structure, it starts from the most specific to reach the widest. Logic or linear. It articulates the information on the basis of premise and conclusion, causes and effects, reasons and consequences. Chronological or linear, it deals with a historical fact or an event of an kind, describing what happened, clarifying the causes, the fact itself, and the consequence.
Problem and solutions. It exposes a problem, its possible causes, and the consequence that it entails. Then they propose the possible solution and the ways of carrying them out. Procedimental. This type of arrangement that appears in a kitchen recipe or an manual to assemble an object. They detail in order the steps with which they have to fulfill to achieve a certain objective.
Okay, the types of structure of expository text. It's six. No, it's cause effect, presentation, problem and solution, introduction, development, and conclusion, exposure of narrative structure, and exposure of descriptive structure, and it's all.
Explanatory resources. To get a good explanation, there are a number of specific resources. These are definition, introduces new clothage, explains the concept or indicates the meaning of term. Reformulation. After an initial definition of an element or concept, you can expand that information or give a new definition with other words. Summary. In extensive text, you can include a paragraph that briefly summarizes the above case histories, experiments, or studies related to the problem can also be summarized.
Causal relationships, relations of cause and consequence, are established between phenomena or events to understand their nature. Um, Comparison it makes explicit the differences and similarities between elements. Examples they provide concrete cause that illustrate the subject being cited. Classification. Sort the elements by common characteristics or categories. Connectors serve to reinforce connections between parts. They can be causal, consecutive, or summarize information. Analogy. Compare two elements that belong to different domains. The unknown can be explained by another concept so that the reader can understand the subject.
Description. To detail the appearance of a phenomenon or object. Oigan, of phenomenon are or an object so that read can imagine intent. Um, Imagine or graphic, they work as indicative allusive to the subject. Per conclusion is a lunar eclipse is characteristic by its impact on the emotional reaction and lends to an unstable environment and arouse or physical, sensitive, and spiritual instinct during an eclipse of the moon of the aroused on the moon there is a lot of energy electromagnetic and change that affects us mentality, but each person take in it in a positive way. You will be able to discover the creative and artistic qualities.
Okay, but if people take it in a positive way, you will be able to discover their creative and artistic qualities. Therefore, during the days of the eclipse, our ego suffer to be reunited with their shadows, and that is to say, become more aware of our shortcomings, bad tendencies, um, low frequencies because they are perceived more easy with the absence of light that the eclipse represents.